Hi, people, your boy man Mike here, man. Doing a quick debunking of a lot of the rumors that are going around with the Atlanta Falcons possibly trading up to get Ed Oliver, trading up from the eighth for the 14th pick to the eighth pick to get Ed Oliver. I don't see this happening for the simple fact that the Atlanta Falcons and Dan Quinn have let it be known that they are in search, first and foremost, of depth. And what is required of the Atlanta Falcons to move up is to at least give the Detroit Lions three picks, at least three picks. All right, that's my way of thinking. All right, and way I know the NFL trade it to be, it is required for those guys to at least give up 3 to 4 picks to move up from 14th to 8th. And I just don't see that happening. There's no way in hell the Atlanta Falcons, with their depth issues and their lack of spending on the defensive side of the ball, to move up and give away 3 picks for Ed Oliver. Look, man, you have Christian Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence, a lot of guys. All right, a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball. Montez Sweat. You have guys like even Jalen Ferguson. A bunch of guys, man. There's no way in the hell that Dan Quinn would trade up to the Detroit Lions, the 8th pick, to get Ed Oliver. Unless these guys feel like Ed Oliver will be the next Aaron Donald, will be the next Khalil Mack. I just don't see that happening. There's no way in the hell the Atlanta Falcons would do such a thing with such depth issues. All right? Unless these guys are going to bring in, some old veterans, guys like, what's the guy that's out right now, the ex-Falcon, Adrian Claiborne, who we can't depend on to be ready, can't depend on to be healthy. We've never been able to depend on him. And now all of a sudden we want this guy to be, the Atlanta Falcons to trade up and depend on guys like that. I just don't see that happening, man. The Falcons have way too much, man. I think they way too much, money. They don't have a ton of money, especially with Grady Jarrett, Vic Beasley, Julio Jones, those guys' contract, looming. I just don't see the Falcons having the ability to trade up in the draft. I could definitely see the Falcons trading down from the 14th pick to kind of get more picks. But if you guys think that these rumors concerning the Detroit Lions, and I've gotten several comments and what I thought about Falcons possibly trading up for a guy like Ed Oliver. Look, Ed Oliver is a tremendous player. All right, make no mistake about it. But the Falcons have too many players on this team like Ed Oliver. We don't need a guy like Ed Oliver. All right, we don't need Ed Oliver. I believe in Grady Jarrett. I believe in Vic Beasley. I believe in Tack. And from what I've seen, with a guy that is 280 pounds, we don't know if this guy can play at that weight, because he's probably at a lighter weight at Houston. So when you look at Ed Oliver, I don't think the Atlanta Falcons are in a position where they can continue to make trades and ignore depth. We have to think about depth, and trading up for a guy like Ed Oliver, it just doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. So it's much more likely that the Falcons either stay put or move down to kind of get a guy like Dexter Lawrence. If they feel it's Christian Wilkins is their guy, they may stay put and get a guy like Christian Wilkins. But I can't see the Falcons trading up unless this guy is Nick Bosa, unless this guy is Quentin Williams. You could pretty much call that a day. That will not happen with the Atlanta Falcons. They will not be trading up for Ed Oliver. If Ed Oliver is sitting at 14, you could possibly. I'm not 100% sold on Ed Oliver being the Atlanta Falcons, unless the Atlanta Falcons have a plan where they pick Ed Oliver and they trade up to get a guy like Dexter Lawrence. I just don't see the Atlanta Falcons drafting a guy like Ed Oliver. Just doesn't fit what the Atlanta Falcons need, all right? I don't know if this guy is I know he's an exceptional athlete, but I see way too many warning signs with this guy. He's undersized, and I don't know if this guy, he has the mentality, what it takes to be an NFL player. We already have a guy like Takk McKinley. Takk McKinley is a head case sometimes, man. All right, we don't know if this guy, these rumors, but even Takk McKinley, him being, with Takk McKinley being, I guess, mentally unstable, him ready to kill himself or whatever it was, whatever the rumor was, we don't know. We don't know. And having a guy like Ed Oliver, who was pretty much on the sideline, crying because the coach wouldn't do this or do that, we don't know if this guy is mentally fragile, man. We don't know if Ed Oliver is mentally fragile. And to bring a guy in along with Takk, along with Vic Beasley, I wouldn't necessarily say Vic Beasley is fragile, but he hasn't shown me that he is, a tough-minded individual, all right? We look at Keanu Neal, we look at Ricardo Allen. We don't have a ton of guys with those, that alpha personality. And having a guy like Ed Oliver on this team, man, I think that would be a great disservice to the Atlanta Falcons if their plan is to just draft him and, draft him and bring in a guy like Dexter Lawrence. If that's the case, maybe I would think about doing that. But at this point, man, the Falcons are desperately in need of depth. And drafting a guy like Ed Oliver with the 14th pick or trading up with the Detroit Lions just does not make any sense, man. So with that being said, man, let me get to these questions, man. You guys' comments, I appreciate Z-Rybar, DSGB,Ncraft9, Roger Franklin, Walter Lias, FaZe BB Cox, all you guys, man. I appreciate everybody for, commenting, man. Man, everybody hit that damn like button. Hit that like button for your boy, man. Hurry up and hit that like button, man. But if you guys have any freaking questions, man, I'll hit those up real quick. Oh, DSGP, ain't no way in hell that's happening. Yeah, I can't see the Falcons trading up. It just doesn't make any sense, man. It really makes absolutely no sense for the Falcons to trade up, especially when Dan Quinn have let it be known that they are looking for depth. And you have to have picks, okay? We know the Falcons don't have a ton of cap space. So why would you trade up if you're looking for depth? That means that the Falcons will have to give up at least 3 picks. All right? Those 2 other guys that will not be on the roster if you would trade up. So trading up just doesn't seem like something that Falcons would do based on Dan Quinn's, Thomas Dimitroff, and what they've been saying about depth. They want to get more depth on the defensive end, line. I believe it was the linebacker position and cornerback. So when you look at that, man, the Falcons just don't have a ton of picks. They really don't have the money, not in the right position to trade up in the draft. All right, they don't have the capital. If they had more cap space, I could see if that would be the case. But the Falcons just don't have they really don't have the capital to trade up in the draft. It just doesn't make sense for the Falcons to do that. Rashid Hageman, NC Craft, Hageman. Rashid Hageman is a player that Dan Quinn has missed for the last couple of years. And I've been a huge advocate of bringing in a guy that is similar to Rashid Hageman. I know a lot of people do not believe this, And I've been a huge advocate of saying the Falcons need a guy like Rashid Bateman who can play across the board. This is what Dan Quinn loves in defensive linemen. This is why that I say Dexter Lawrence and Christian Wilkins are the favorite for Dan Quinn to either draft at 14th or move down and you draft those guys, because the Falcons desperately need guys that they can move around to kind of help get more one-on-one opportunities for Takk McKinley, Grady Jarrett, and Vic Beasley. All right, the Falcons' defensive line is incomplete. They don't have a big guy that they can move around, put him at defensive end to stop, those stretch plays. They don't have guys that you can plug in the middle and stop those big, those halfback dives, those ISOs plays. They don't have a guy who can stop the run. And having a guy like Rashid Bateman, Dexter Lawrence, it reminds me of a lot of Dexter Lawrence reminds me a lot of a Rashid Bateman. So when you look at back in 2016, even 2015, Rashid Bateman was a huge part of what the Atlanta Falcons did on that defensive line. It helped free up Vic Beasley. It helped free up Grady Jarrett. This is why the Atlanta Falcons had a big turnaround in 2000 at the half of 2016. That defensive line did great under Dan Quinn. The defensive line and defense did great under Dan Quinn. So if you get a guy like Dexter Lawrence, Christian Wilkins, guys that could provide double teams, stop the run, allow Grady Jarrett to move around, allow Vic Beasley to move around. Vic Beasley is a guy that you can use in multiple positions. You can use him as a gap blitzer, an A blitzer, blitz the A gap, blitz the B gap, even, play outside or at defensive end and get to the quarterback. This is what Vic Beasley is for the Atlanta Falcons. This is what the Falcons, this is why Dan Quinn drafted Vic Beasley. He didn't draft him to solely be a defensive end. He drafted Vic Beasley to be a jack of all trades. And when you don't have guys like a Dexter Lawrence available, look, he's going to struggle. He is going to struggle. All right. And not only, there's a big misconception that Vic Beasley was the only guy to struggle on that defensive line. Make no mistake about it. This is the reason why the Falcons and Grady Jarrett have not came down to a contract, because Grady Jarrett has his shortcomings. He wasn't exactly stout as a run defender. All right. He's a great pass rusher. He gets to the quarterback. He has great hand plays. He means the world to this defense, but he has his shortcomings. All right. He struggled also against the run. All right. Takk McKinley also, outside of the game where he had 3.5 sacks, Takk was very quiet. All right. Takk was extremely quiet. All right. So when we look at Vic Beasley, yes, Vic Beasley had a couple of games where early on that he didn't show up. And that go back to what I was saying about the Falcons' defensive line being incomplete and guys not having guys in place to help Vic, Takk, and Grady do what they do best, and that's get after the quarterback. You're going to struggle. So if you get a guy like Dexter Lawrence, man, it will allow those guys to do what they do best, man. Rodriel, I heard about this trade up for Oliver. Man, look, man, for whatever reason, people are infatuated with Ed Oliver. I understand that he is a terrific athlete. I understand that he does some things that make you say, oh my God, wow. But the Falcons already have guys. We have Grady Jarrett. We have Deion. We have Keanu. We have Trufant. We have these guys who are exceptional athletes. All right, we don't need another athlete. We need players that can come in, do their damn job to the best of their ability. And this is why I like a guy like Zach Allen also, because Zach Allen is great at doing the little things. The Falcons need more players that are capable of doing the little things, but if you can get a guy he does the little things well, but he is an athlete, which is a rare combination. A guy that is fundamentally sound as well as a great athlete. Those things don't come often. All right, you don't get guys that are complete coming out of college. You don't get a ton of Jadeveon Clowney and J.J. Watts and Khalil Mack. You don't get a ton of those guys who are all around great players. So when you get a guy like, when you draft a guy in the draft, especially at defensive end, you draft him off potential. All right, you see what he is. He's a freak athlete, and you hope to develop him as you hope your coaches can develop him as a complete player. All right, so this is one of the reasons why, Vic Beasley hasn't lived up to his potential, is because, let's be honest, Dan Quinn hasn't had a lot of time to sit back and tutor Vic Beasley. This is what he does best. All right, Vic Beasley needs to be taught. He needs to learn how to set up his speed rush. All right, and I know a lot of people saying Vic Beasley needs this, he needs that. Well, Vic Beasley has to learn how to set up his speed rush, and he hasn't learned how to set up his speed rush consistently. All right? And Chuck Smith said this. Big Chuck Smith, the same guy that everyone is, tagging Vic Beasley and all these posts and whatnot, the same guy that said it's not what's wrong with Vic Beasley can be corrected. But one major issue with Vic Beasley is that the coaches have him lined out so far, he has no ability to counter. Right? Just based on the angle that he rushes, he's out extremely wide, and the offensive tackle pretty much does not respect anything because he's lined out so far outside. So it's a tricky situation with Vic Beasley, and this is why I say, man, it has to be. Dan Quinn had to take Vic Beasley on his wings. Why? Because, look, he is a defensive coordinator, he is a defensive architect, and he is the play caller. No one else can do it for the Falcons. If Vic Beasley is going to succeed, it's going to be Vic Beasley and Dan Quinn. Period, point blank. All right? So when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, all of the Atlanta Falcons issues can be cured. It really is that simple. We're not as bad as we think we are. The Falcons were 7-9. They lost at least 4 games this year by at least 4 games this year that I remember by less than 1 possession. 1 possession. Even with the defense being so inconsistent, the Falcons were in a ton of games. So the defense isn't as bad as we think we are. We just need the guys to step up. All right, injuries played a major role there, but we need Falcons. We need guys to step up in roles to do the little things best, and that's what the Falcons lack. It's depth and guys that don't do the little things best, man. If that's the case, when we take Dexter Lawrence at 14, take Dexter Lawrence at 14. Look, I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan of Dexter Lawrence, man. I love his size, athleticism. You can move him around. Like I said, he reminds me of Rashid Hageman. If you combine Rashid Hageman, you give Rashid Hageman, put another Rashid Hageman on this defense, man, the Falcons can take advantage of a lot of offensive teams, man. Offensive linemen, man. Like, I really like with Christian Wilkins, and even more so Dexter Lawrence. I would not be surprised. This motherfucker. Excuse me, but yes, this Dexter Lawrence is a guy that I have the Falcons taking at 14. I know the Falcons fans are like, Dexter Lawrence, man, you can get him in the 2nd round. Well, I'm not exactly sure. If he is the player that you want, he is the player that the Falcons need and they're high on, take him. Don't give another team the opportunity to take your guy. If he is your guy, take him. Period, point blank. Who do you think is the most dependable tackle in the draft? Like, who is the most complete in a way it won't be a bust? The most complete tackle, defensive tackle in the draft has to be Quinnen Williams. Has to be Quinnen Williams and Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins can play across the board. He can play both 1, 3, 0, 5. This guy can play all over the line. So I think Christian Wilkins, Quinnen Williams, those guys are the most complete defensive tackles in the league, in the draft. You bring those, combine them with Grady, Vic, Tack, Jack Crawford. I think he fits in well, but you know, you're not going to get Quinnen Williams. So at this point, you have to look at Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins is someone, he doesn't wow anyone. He's a great player. All right, I think he's a wonderful player. He made some big time plays in the SEC championship, but the championship against Alabama. And look, man, this guy's been making plays for the last 3-4 years at Clemson. All right, Christian Wilkins is the real deal. He is the real deal. All right, he doesn't have to be an amazing player. He doesn't have to come in and make immediate contribution to the team. All right, he just needs to be one of those players, come in, help Grady Jarrett command double teams, get single team. All right, help Vic Beasley get free, help Tack McKinley get free. This is what he needs to be, man. All right, period, point blank. Keith, if they trade up, I prefer Montez Sweat over Oliver. One thing about Montez Sweat, he scares me, but I wouldn't be against drafting Montez Sweat. He plays a lot slower than what his combine numbers are, and that tells me that he isn't very confident in his ability. I wouldn't necessarily say confident in his ability. He isn't confident of what he has going on as far as him knowing the system, knowing exactly what's going on. He's not comfortable with that. So when you look at Montez Sweat, that's the only knock for me, is that he plays much slower than what his combine numbers are saying. Antoine Smitty-Smith, Greg Jackson, what's good, man? Sean Jones. Yeah, man, I hope we don't. So Sean Jones is a Detroit fan. Look, man, I don't. That'll be. I'm not worried. That's something that we can't happen. That can't happen. You cannot have the Atlanta Falcons trading up with the Detroit Lions and getting a guy like Ed Oliver. I'm just not a fan of that, man. My concern about Oliver is his level of competition that he played against. Yeah, that's something also that I worry about. When you look at Ed Oliver, man, he's gotten bulldozed by smaller offensive guards, lesser talented offensive guards. And if you bring that crap to the NFL, man, they're going to eat you alive. All right? They're going to eat you alive. And look, 287 pounds at defensive tackle is just not, it's just not going to do, it's not going to do anything, man. That's not going to get it done with the Atlanta Falcons, man. Especially with those bigger guards that you have, man. Especially with those bigger guards with the Atlanta Falcons. The bigger guard that play with the Atlanta Falcons play, especially in the NFC South. The NFC South, where you have New Orleans Saints. Tampa Bay has a pretty big They have a pretty big offensive line. Even the Carolina Panthers, they have a pretty big offensive line. So when you put Ed Oliver against those big guys, man, he's gonna run all over him. They're gonna run all over Ed Oliver, man. All right, and the Falcons have had the issues with physical offensive line. You saw what Cleveland did. Cleveland absolutely destroyed the Falcons. All right, Pittsburgh again, they absolutely destroyed our defensive line, even with a Grady Jarrett there. All right, even with a Grady Jarrett there, they destroyed this line. So you put Ed Oliver, a guy that's barely 280 pounds, and you trying to plug him in at defensive tackle on a consistent basis, just doesn't bode well, man. That's not going to bode well at all. And like I said, I love Ed Oliver as a prospect, as a 3-tech, a guy that you want to rush the passer, but the Falcons need more than just a pass rusher, man. They need more than just a pass rusher. All right? That's just my thoughts on that. Fred Butts, what's good? The Falcons are leaning toward Ed Oliver. We don't know what the Falcons are leaning toward, to be honest, man. This is one of the most confusing offseason, but yet transparent offseasons for the Atlanta Falcons. We know that they're going to get a defensive lineman. All right, all signs have shown that they will go after defensive lineman. They signed like 3. James Carpenter, and what's the other kid name? Jamar Brown, whatever his name is. Jamar Brown, the offensive guard for the Falcons. So when you look at this, man, it's just so much the Atlanta Falcons are pretty much, showing their hand, man. They are going after defensive tackle. They're going after defensive lineman. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons go after defensive end. All right, Falcons, Dan Quinn, let it be known that he wants depth at the defensive end position. He wants depth at the defensive end position. Maybe he feels like DJ Sonata is going to be a big-time player. Maybe he decides, maybe he believes and he feels as though DJ Sonata will be a tremendous defensive tackle. And he, kind of swerves everyone and drafts a guy like an Ed Oliver. Not an Ed Oliver, but a Montez Sweat. Maybe he swerves. Maybe there's a huge swerve. Maybe there's even bigger swerve, and he decides to go after a safety. I can't see the Falcons drafting a guy like Cody Ford with the 14th pick. If they trade down, Cody Ford is still sitting there. You pick up another pick. I can see that happening. But I don't see the Falcons trading for a guy, trading up for Ed Oliver or drafting a guy like Cody Ford at 14. I just don't see that happening, man. Michael Covington, we need to draft defense and go get Sue. Falcons just don't have enough cap space, man. Cap space. It's all about cap. All right? A lot of teams in the NFL, all right? In the NFC, a lot of teams just don't have the cap space. It's really that simple, man. It's really that simple. We can't get guys because they cost too much money. And a guy like Ndamukong Suh is going to cost you at the very least $12 million. At the very least, you're going to get a Ndamukong Suh for $12 million. You're not going to get him for any lower than that, all right? Unless something happens where Ndamukong Suh is sitting out, somewhere in mid training camp, and you need him to come in, man. And you sign him for like an $8 million, like you did Dontari Poe. I don't see that happening whatsoever. I can't see that happening with them, man, at all. But no, I don't. The Falcons definitely will not be signing a Ndamukong Suh. That's not happening. Falcons just not going to. One thing we can eliminate with the Atlanta Falcons, man, a lot of our fans, we need to eliminate We got to understand that this team is not going to spend a ton of money in free agency, all right? We're not going to spend money in free agency. We're not going to spend money in free agency whatsoever, all right? So you guys can get that through your head, all right? If you like your team, the Atlanta Falcons, to spend money in free agency, if you want to eliminate headaches, if you want to eliminate disappointments, get it through your head that this Falcons team will not spend money in free agency. It's not happening. This team doesn't build through the draft. They don't build through free agency. They build through the draft, all right? This is a draft team. We're going to do everything to get younger and get rid of the older players. This is how this team is building for the future. Get younger, get rid of the older, and get rid of guys that are not producing. This is how the Falcons are ran. Get used to it. We will not, unless we absolutely need a guy to come in and he's available. He's a can't-miss player, like a Khalil Mack, a can't-miss player like a Alex Mack. The Falcons are not spending big-time money on free agency. We can get that through our head. If we can understand that, Falcons fans, we'll be so much better off. We'll be so much better off as a fan base. We're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. The Falcons are not spending money in free agency. So let's get that through our head, man. I've gotten a ton of questions on the Falcons possibly signing this guy in free agency. We're not going to sign anybody, all right? If the Falcons decide to spend $40 million in free agency, man, look, that'll be the end of me. That'll be the end of me. It'll shock the crap out of me. The last time we spent that much money was Alex Mack. $40 million. I don't think the Falcons have ever done that. All right? Since Alex Mack. I think the deal with even Mohamed Sanu was like $30 million, 5 year, 4 year, $30 million or something like that. The Falcons are not going to spend a ton of money in free agency, man. So we can get that through our head. Lunatic Falcon, what's good, man? Wouldn't mind if Devin White. Nah, bro, we're not trading up for a linebacker. No. I'm sorry to brush you guys' bubble, but Devin White is probably one of the most overrated talents in the draft. Not saying he's not a supreme athlete, but he's probably one of the most overrated players in this draft. All right, we already have a Deion. All right, we don't need another Deion. We're good with that. Duke Riley, Devondre Campbell, Foye Oluokun, who I think will be the starting weak side linebacker in the very near future. I don't see Devondre Campbell coming back past this year. He will be a free agent soon, and he's already talking reckless on social media. So we can pretty much call Devondre Campbell's career in Atlanta pretty much short. It's pretty much done. All right, he just get that through your head, Falcons fan. We're not drafting a linebacker, Devin White, also in the first round. Jake Gunter, I want us to trade up top 5 to get Nick Bosa. I wouldn't mind Nick Bosa, but that again, man, it's about depth. You got to trade up. You got to give up something, especially in the top 5. You're going to give up at least 4 picks, at the very least 4 picks to trade up to get a Nick Bosa. All right, I don't think the Falcons, even with 9 picks, man, the Falcons are not giving up 9 picks, 4 picks to trade up to the top 5 for Nick Bosa. All right, we're probably going to use a first this year, maybe a first next year, and maybe a second and a third. That's too much, man. That's way too much for Nick Bosa. All right, Falcons, they have impact players on defense. Whether we like them or not, that's up to you. That's really your issue. The Falcons have Vic Beasley, they have Grady Jarrett, Tack McKinley. Those guys are impact players up front. And we don't know what Nick Bosa is going to be. He could very well be a bust also. Everybody in this draft could very well be a bust. All right? This is all based on potential. We don't know if these guys would be as great as they were. All right, no one would have saw that Grady Jarrett being drafted at a 5th round pick would be one of the best defensive tackles in the league. No one would have thought that Aaron Donald would be as good as he is now. All right, no one would have saw that. Every pick in this draft is based off potential. And look, man, we're just chasing a damn rainbow. We hoping these guys, all right, we're hoping that these guys turn out to be elite players. But 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, man, most of these guys don't turn out to be. And it was a crazy stat with D-Pat. Gave me a crazy stat of the 2015 draft, is that 3 defensive linemen, no, it was 3 defensive linemen out of the 2015 draft. 3 guys were Pro Bowlers. 3 guys out of that entire draft were Pro Bowlers. All right, that's Hunter, and that's Vic Beasley. All right, Grady Jarrett. If I'm not mistaken now, I don't think it was Grady Jarrett, but I know for a fact it was Hunter, defensive lineman. I believe he plays for the Detroit Lions. But it was he and Vic Beasley were the only one that made that was Pro Bowlers in that 15 draft. All right, and this goes back to what I'm saying. All this shit is a crapshoot. We're hoping that these guys pan out, but we don't know for sure. So why not hold on to guys like Vic Beasley, Takk McKinley? You know what they can bring, instead of trading these guys away for another for another maybe. We don't know if these guys will be. We don't know if Christian Wilkins is going to be. We don't know if Dexter Lawrence is going to be good. We don't know if Quentin Williams, Nick Bosa is going to be good. We have an idea based on their potential and their scout numbers, but we don't know what they're going to produce on the field. So let's just, be patient. Let's not try to trade the whole damn farm, give up all your picks because we think a player is going to be a top player. We don't know for sure. But yeah, Roger, they're projecting Lawrence to be in the 2nd round, but I doubt he lasts that long. Talk about the running back situations. Well, the running back situation pretty much speaks for itself, man. Devonta Freeman is coming back from his knee injury, growing injury. I fully expect him to be. I think they'll bring him along slowly. I don't think you will see a ton of him in the preseason. I think we'll see a lot of Ito Smith this year. I think we'll see a lot of Ito, see exactly what he is, because he had a knee injury going towards the end of the season, didn't play the last 2 or 3 games. So we don't know if Ito will be back healthy also. We're pointing the finger at Devonta Freeman saying he's healthy, but Ito Smith had a knee injury himself. So, look, man, the running back situation is fine. The Falcons are definitely going towards more of a power inside zone running scheme. Those 2 big offensive guards you have in the middle, Brandon Fusco possibly coming back. The Falcons have more of a power running scheme now. So they're still running a lot of outside zone running schemes, but for the most part, it's all about the power, man. We're gonna pound the rock this year. All right, we're gonna use a ton of play action, get back to Mike Mularkey, that 2009, 2010, we had Mike Turner and the Falcons use a ton of inside zone running scheme, as well as, power running scheme with Mike Mularkey, who is back with the Atlanta Falcons. So we're going to employ a lot of that with the Falcons. Devonta Freeman, Ito Smith, and I expect them to bring in a much bigger back, a much tougher back. Maybe a guy like Elijah Holyfield, who, a lot of people are looking at him, his combine numbers, like he run a 4.8, 4.9, 4.7, 4.8. Look, man, we need power guys. We need guys who can get the tough yards, and that's what the Falcons may definitely go after. But the running game, look, I think the running game would be fine, man. As long as you have Matt Ryan, man, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley to open up the field, the running game will be pretty much It'll be pretty good, man. I'm not worried about the running game for the Mac. Ito Smith will most likely have every opportunity to showcase that if he can be the long-term answer for the Atlanta Falcons at running back if Devonta Freeman can't stay healthy. Walter Lyons, the offense is okay. Defenses need help, and special teams need help. Is the Sanu coming back this season? Don't know. At this point, I think Sanu will come back, but at some point in time, we can pretty much, come to the conclusion that the Falcons, even Dirk Cutter may want his own receiver. He may want a receiver, and the guy that's sitting as a third option, making $7 million as a third option. I don't know if the Falcons want to continue to pay Mohamed Sanu that much money when you can draft a guy that be a third option behind Kevin Ridley and Julio Jones, as well as Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper may want to take a much more significant role in the offense. So Sanu becomes, the odd man out, making $7 million, and you want to kind of, give Austin Hooper much more, integrate him into the offensive scheme a little bit more. Mohamed Sanu may be traded during draft day. We don't know, man, at this point. But I would say this for Mohamed Sanu, I definitely wouldn't get comfortable seeing him in the Atlanta Falcons. I love Bean Talk. I love Mohamed Sanu. He's a great guy, but don't get comfortable with players, man. Do not, Atlanta Falcons fan, do not get comfortable with players this year. All right, do not, because we're going to see a ton of players being moved. We're going to see a ton of players possibly being traded, and guys not being re-signed. All right, this Falcons, Dan Quinn, these guys are making moves, man, and we may not like it. Eric Carlson, Eric Carlson trade up would be totally worth it if it was a third, fifth. See, that's not enough, man. That's not enough. If you can possibly trade up for a first round pick of third and the fifth, seventh, maybe. That's a huge maybe. All right, and there has to be a team that they're trying their best to get out of a spot. I don't see the Falcons trading up. They're already sitting at the middle of the pack. So trading up, they will have to give up at least a second. All right, either a second this year or a second next year. They would have to give up the number 2 pick, a second round pick. It would take an idiot to not see how talented Oliver is if Grady Jarrett leaves next year. Well, Eric, man, no one really doubts how talented Ed Oliver is. But there's a ton of red flags with this guy. So many red flags with this guy. And the Falcons don't need another project player. Ed Oliver is going to take at least 2 to 3 years to reach his potential. Falcons don't have that option. The Falcons don't have that option to sit back and wait for a guy 2 years to develop. Another thing is Ed Oliver is 280 pounds. You're going to put a 280-pound guy next to Grady Jarrett, who is 300 pounds, 305 pounds? I don't know. And the third thing that is a huge red flag for Ed Oliver is that we don't know if this guy is mentally stable, man. This guy has had blown up. I mean, he's on the field crying, on the sideline crying for whatever reason, has a flare-up with the coach. The coach pretty much, called him out. We don't know what the hell's going on with Ed Oliver here. We don't know if this guy's weak. He's fragile. We don't need fragile players, especially for this organization. Fans would, I made a video earlier. Fans will call your ass out. They will tag your ass on social media. And if you're fragile, like Russell Westbrook, You fragile and you worry about what everyone is thinking. Man, this fan base will eat your crap. It will eat you alive, man. So, I don't know, man. It's so many red flags with Ed Oliver, man. He has a tremendous. Look, man, he's a special, special athlete. But there's a ton of red flags with the guy, man. A ton of red flags. David in Atlanta, Sports Live in the ATL. What trade the Braves? Look, man, there is a trade rumor that possibly the Falcons are looking to trade up to get a guy, Ed Oliver. Don't think it will happen just based on the Falcons' need for depth, and Dan Quinn pretty much stating that he wants depth. Don't see that happening. The real Pat Man, there he is. Yeah, if you guys on Twitter, man, the real Pat Man, man, when I tell you, got this dude love this. Look, man, he's one of the most intelligent guys I've ever had the experience of working with. The real Pat Man, this guy is smart. All right, this dude is freaking Einstein. All right, he may even sit back and smile and saying, "Nah, man, I just share out the facts, man." Look, this dude come up with some crazy scenarios, to which a lot of them that I've used on this channel. Look, man, I don't proclaim to be the smartest. I know what I'm talking about with certain things. I go in great details. I do my research and I come to a conclusion. I don't just throw out, bull crap ideas. A lot of these certain writers write for certain websites do. Those guys throwing out these crazy scenarios that make absolutely no sense. Uneducated, opinionated scenarios. Like drafting Brian Burns. Like, how the hell would Brian Burns make this team better? Come on, man. No, I like to do my homework. But, man, if you guys love the truth, you love facts, you want your facts proven, thought through, follow Real Pat Man. I promise you, you will love those stats, man. All right? This dude is brilliant. This dude is fucking Einstein, all right? Make no mistake about it. This dude is Einstein. Smart as hell. AR-10 today? Ooh, man, all right. Eric Carlson, yeah, they will run all over him. Has been a dominant run defender. Is an excellent exception, not the rule. He is a freak. Man, look, I like Ed Oliver as a athlete, but it's just too many warning signs with this guy, man. Way too many warning signs, and that's my thing, man. No, I don't. Gene Frederico. There any chance the Falcons trade up for a linebacker? Not in the first and second round. The Falcons, if there's a linebacker that Dan Quinn has, and you have to look at the history of Dan Quinn, he loves to draft. No, he has to have his linebackers. All right, and Duke Riley, Devonta Campbell, those guys are definitely. They're definitely not safe. So I would not be against the Falcons drafting a linebacker somewhere in the third or fourth round. All right, Dan Quinn has already shown that he doesn't have a ton of confidence in Duke Riley and Devonta Campbell. All right, those guys kept rotating signal call. They was going back and forth as being which guy would be the signal callers, because Dan Quinn didn't trust either guy. But when Deion Jones came back, those guys pretty much, they stepped back into their initial role. But at this point, man, I think Foye Oluokun is definitely I'm gonna make a bold prediction here, man. I know I might get some crazy looks, but when I say this, I think you're looking at a potential star in Foye Oluokun. This guy has tremendous instincts, but he doesn't have a ton of experience. But once he gets that experience, man, Foye Oluokun will be a damn near a Pro Bowler. I truly believe he is that special as a linebacker. Let's just look at his numbers, man. Like I said, Pat, myself, and Dan, Lieutenant Dan, unintentional grounded, man. We look at stats, we look at numbers, we dissect all these players all the time, and what we come to the conclusion that Foye Oluokun is a guy that you have to keep an eye on. I really believe that he's going to be a terrific player for the Atlanta Falcons, and ultimately may take over that spot as Devondre Campbell, as the strong side or weak side. He has that much ability. Foye Oluokun is that damn good, man. And this guy's only played 1 year, and he's a solid tackler. He gets a ton of tackles for losses. All right, this is what you want. You want your guys to make tackles. You want the guys to be consistent. Foye Oluokun is that guy, man. Feel the vibe. What's good, man? We stay at 14, and Dexter Lawrence, best defensive tackles coming. Look, man, I'm not against it. I'm a huge Dexter Lawrence guy. I feel as though that he definitely will, at some point, be in the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know if it'll be the first round, the 14th pick. I wouldn't be against it. The Falcons could possibly trade back into the first round and draft a guy like Dexter Lawrence, or they could get him in the second round. But I do at some point feel as though that Dexter Lawrence is a perfect fit for what the Atlanta Falcons want. And what I feel as though they need. It's based on my ideas, my opinions. I wouldn't necessarily be against Dexter Lawrence being drafted at number 14th. Christopher Perkins, Christian Wilkins, and Dexter Lawrence. Man, like I said before, I'm not against either one. But if I had my choice, I have to go with Dexter Lawrence for the simple fact that I think he's, for a guy that's 340, I think he's 6'5", 340, 6'4", 340. You can line him all over the field. Man, look, that's a Rashid Hateman. The Falcons need another Rashid Hateman to open up things for Grady Jarrett, Vic Beasley, and Tack McKinley. These guys need more one-on-one opportunities. And you have a guy like Rashid Hateman, all right, back in 2016, that's something that the Falcons fans just don't understand about. A lot of people don't take, I wouldn't necessarily say they don't understand, but a lot of people think it's just, line the guy up, get after the quarterback, and it's just simple as that. No, you need guys that can help get double teams, help create opportunities for others. And this is why this is why Grady, this is why Vic has been so inconsistent, because we don't have that third guy. We don't have that big guy to come in and create mismatches for these guys, man. Everyone needs a Vince Wilfork. Every team needs a Rashid Hateman. Everyone needs a Austin Bryant. Not an Austin Bryant, but Red Bryant. They used to play for the Seattle Seahawks. Everyone needs that one guy to help create one-on-one opportunities for each player. Everyone needs an Ndamukong Suh. All right, Ndamukong Suh was brought to the Rams to help create one-on-one opportunities for Aaron Donald. And Aaron Donald had one of the best years of his career in NFL history. 20 sacks at defensive tackle. Why? It's because he helped, Ndamukong Suh helped Aaron Donald get more one-on-one opportunities. And this is what the Falcons need. All right, this defense is definitely not complete, man. It's not complete. Key, can we draft a return specialist this year? I think that's what the Kentron Bonner, the Falcons. I don't think the Falcons go after a guy like Miko or even Terry Godwin for Georgia. Maybe they bring those guys in, but I think Kentron Bonner, the running back that we brought in from the Carolina Panthers, who got slammed by Matt Bosher, I think that's what he'll be for. So the Falcons, they are definitely addressing that need, which I definitely feel they had to address, man. So special teams, our return game has pretty much been non-existent. But yeah, man, I don't think the Falcons would definitely address that. I think they have addressed that with Kentron Bonner, to be honest. Do we need 2 defensive tackles? I wouldn't say they need 2 defensive tackles just based on what Dan Quinn has stated. The Falcons said they need. Dan Quinn said they need depth at the defensive end position. So based on Dan Quinn's his saying and what he's put out in the NFL, when he put out there to Falcons fans, you can check it out actually on the Atlanta Falcons YouTube channel. They actually have Dan Quinn, Thomas Dimitroff, and Arthur Blank, and they're pretty much stating what the Falcons' needs are. So, look, man, don't just take my word for it. Just go back and listen to Dan Quinn. Just listen to Dan Quinn and what he's saying. Everything that myself, Dan, and even the Pat Man, all right, the real Pat Man, we based our opinions solely on what the Atlanta Falcons like to do and what they say. Just read what Dan Quinn says, all right? And you can eliminate all of your frustration. Just listen to what Dan Quinn. You may not always agree, but you will eliminate a ton of, frustrations, man. This is what Dan Quinn said. The Falcons want DN depth. So I would definitely expect the Atlanta Falcons to draft 2 or 3 defensive ends in this draft, and maybe 1 or 2 defensive tackles, but they're going to go heavy on defensive ends, I feel, in this draft. Gene, yeah, I really believe Dan Quinn is putting, if the Falcons go defensive end in the first round, that means for me, that signifies to me that Deion Jones will play a huge role in the Atlanta Falcons on the defensive line for the Atlanta Falcons. Kind of, use this guy as the Red Bryant, like he used Red Bryant in Seattle. Use him at defensive end, defensive tackle, 3-tech, and he's already pretty much stated that he sees that Deion Jones may play a ton of 3-tech to get after the quarterback also. So, look, man, the Falcons, Dan Quinn has a plan, man. This is why he hasn't made a ton of moves. He has a plan. It's really simple. He's going to go after defensive line help, man. Minnesota Falcon, yeah, man, appreciate you supporting the channel too, man. But yes, I think this is definitely Mohamed Sanu's last year. I think the draft and the cabinet really pretty much stated that. I don't know if he will be gone this year. He could very well be traded during the draft because Arizona, a ton of teams just need receivers at this point, and Arizona is definitely one of those teams that needs a receiver, especially with the possibility of trading Josh Rosen and drafting a guy like Kyler Murray. They need veteran wide receivers. So a guy like Mohamed Sanu will fit in well with them. What can we do to re-sign Deion Jones? What can we do to re-sign Deion Jones and Keanu Neal? Oh, just wait. Just wait. Just wait. Those guys are not going anywhere, man. Those guys are going to get paid. And one thing we have to understand about the salary cap, and I employ everyone to just, as a matter of fact, I'm going to make more videos about, what the salary cap, all right? And keep you guys informed of what the salary cap is all about, how it works, and things of that nature, because we really don't have guys, as far as writers, to sit down and actually talk and how the cap works, fans just don't know. It's not that they are ignorant. We just, as content creators, as writers, we have to put it out there. We have to put it out there so people can understand it. All right? The cap is going up. So when you see a guy like Deion Jones making $15, $16 million, look, the cap is going up, man. These numbers are changing. We just have to get used to it. The numbers are changing. Players are going to make more money. $20 million for Julio Jones is chump change when guys are making $3 billion, okay, a year off of these guys. $20 million, look, that's chump change to these owners. Look, so we just have to get used to it, man. $15 million for Deion Jones, Keanu Neal. Those guys are going to get paid, so don't worry. Don't fret, Falcons fans. These guys are not going anywhere. Oh, Grady, look. When Arthur Blank, Mr. Blank says that Falcons players are not going anywhere, believe him. All right? He loves Julio. He loves Grady Jarrett. All right? Those guys are not going anywhere. When Arthur Blank says it, he's not going anywhere. They're going to sign those guys to long-term deals because they exude what the Atlanta Falcons are trying to build and the mind frame that the Arthur Blank wants this team to run behind. They want guys that are teammates. They want guys that play hard. They want guys to be an example for their teammates. And Grady Jarrett and, Julio Jones, they do that. And they play their asses off. And they're great players. So they're not going anywhere. Dropping Beasley, Trufant, Sanu next year, and we can re-sign all the people. Jimmy Wright, the Falcons, all right, they got plenty of money, all right. Everything is going to be okay. We don't have to trade their whole team just to get rid of guys because we feel as though that they suck. And this thing about Trufant, I don't know why this is still an issue. I really have no idea why this is still an issue. Trufant is not bad. And I'm going to make another video showing you guys that Trufant is one of the best corners, one of the better corners in the league, all right? All right? Most of that have came way of Trufant has majority been on first down when the Falcons play a ton of cover one. All right, and I'm going to give you guys the graph so you can show it, as I can show it to you. You can check it out for yourself. I have the link to the description so you can show that you can see it for yourself. All right, but 42% of the completions towards Desmond Trufant has been on first down when the Falcons are playing in cover three. Cover three gives up. A corner in the cover three gives up everything underneath for the safety, the strong safety, which is Keanu Neal, and the linebacker, which is Deion Jones and Devonta Campbell. Those guys are responsible for the underneath. So when you see that on first down, Desmond Trufant giving up a ton of passes on first down, look, that's because of the way the defense is designed. So if you want to get on anybody, you have to get on Dan Quinn for not mixing up the coverages. So you won't get those automatic completions on first down. You can get Desmond Trufant playing more man-to-man. You can get Trufant playing more bump coverage. Also, you have to take into effect that a lot of those Trufant plays, Trufant playing off is because you have to cover up a guy like Robert Alford, who freaking sucks. Who freaking sucked. Okay? And I'm going to show you the graph of that also. I'm going to break all this down to you. Robert Alford was atrocious for the Atlanta Falcons. A lot of those coverage that Trufant was forced into is because Robert Alford was so freaking bad, was so bad that the Falcons had to play in zone. So it really isn't all Desmond Trufant's fault, man. Like I said before, Trufant was much better than the Atlanta Falcons fans think he is. Even though he got hands of stone. Even though he has hands of stone, Desmond Trufant was much better than we say he is, man. He really is not that bad. I think he was 9 overall, and not giving up I think it was 8 corners better than Trufant, ranked higher than him as far as giving up the deep ball. Yeah, Trufant was ranked 9th in the league. So Desmond Trufant is not a terrible, terrible corner, all right? Despite what you fans might think, Desmond Trufant was a much better corner than we thought. Oh my God. I know I didn't see another Greedy Williams. Oh my God. Christopher, why in the hell we keep Sharp? Because you need a capable backup. That's why. More than likely, Matt Ryan is going to continue to stay healthy. More than likely, Matt Ryan, you're going to need a guy that knows what he's doing. All right, and despite what a lot of Falcons fans may think, bringing in a free agent who don't know the system is not necessarily a smart decision. Bringing in a guy like Colin Kaepernick, bringing in a guy like anyone who doesn't know the Atlanta Falcons system. Look, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to dumb down your offense. You're going to have to dumb down your offense. So why not bring back in a Matt Sharp who knows the offense, and he's going to pretty much pick off what Matt Ryan level, maybe not to the level of a Matt Ryan, but he can pretty much, step in, and the Falcons, you don't have to teach. That's the thing. Coaches don't want to have to continually teach guys. You want guys to just know. You don't want to spend a whole year trying to teach a guy how to throw how to throw into double coverage, how not to throw into double coverage, how to, know when to throw in the fat, know when to throw to the tight end. Coaches don't want to dedicate all their time trying to teach guys how to play. So bringing in a guy like Matt Sharp, re-sign a guy like Matt Sharp, is much better than we really think, Falcons fan. You don't want to do that. Minnesota Falcons, 5 linebackers on it. Yeah, I don't see the Falcons. Look, man, Dan Quinn says otherwise. He said the Falcons are desperately going to address defensive end depth, cornerback depth, as well as linebacker depth. So, despite what you're saying, and despite what the depth chart is saying, the Falcons will go after a linebacker in this draft. Maybe not in the earlier rounds, maybe the 5th, 6th, maybe the 5th through the 7th round, but the Falcons will get a linebacker. That's just not a Dan Quinn way to not get a linebacker, man. Just not Dan Quinn way not to draft a linebacker. I just don't see Dan Quinn, drafting every draft, not drafting a linebacker. This is not Dan Quinn, man. Evan Thompson was good, man. Yeah, man. Please don't. I just don't want to see. There's too many question marks, too many red flags with Ed Oliver for me, man. And like I said, I think he's a tremendous athlete, but I'm tired of athletes, man. Athletes don't win championships. Athletes don't win championships. We need guys that are complete players at this point. Rashawn Gary is Frank Dozier. Rashawn Gary is my guy. If he's there at 14th, ooh, no. I'm sorry to bust your bubble, but no, son. Rashawn Gary, No. No. Oh, man. Look, I think he'll be a okay piece in the NFL at some point, but nah, I'm good on that. Nah, bro. Rashawn Gary is an okay piece, but to have him at the 14th pick, just nah. Nah, can't have that, bro. I'd rather draft Ed Oliver. We're going to bring in Rashawn Gary with the 14th pick, man. What do you think the Niners would draft at number 2? And good luck with that. Honestly, I don't know. That's the Niners are an interesting pick. They could easily trade out of that position, but if I were them, to be honest, if I were the Niners, I would either my first pick would probably be Quentin Williams because I think Quentin Williams can do things, and the NFL is kind of leaning towards defensive tackles who can do multiple things, and Quentin Williams being that guy in San Francisco. But I would have to say Quentin Williams first and Nick Bosa for the Niners. I can't see them passing up the Quentin Williams and Nick Bosa. Yeah, Fred, but the Falcons have definitely had two meetings with Dexter Lawrence, so I expect the Falcons to really look hard, if not draft this guy at this point, man. The Falcons would desperately, that'd be crazy if they pass up Dexter Lawrence, to be honest, in my opinion, man. But yeah, Evan, man, look, man, that's why I say never trust Dan Quinn and Tommy Dimitroff because they throw a lot of smoke screens out there, man. All right, so we could possibly end up drafting a cornerback, knowing these dudes. You can't trust these dudes, man. They say one thing and they're completely do a 180 from what everyone was expecting. Hell, we could probably even draft a safety at this point, knowing Dan Quinn. Joe Jackson is another. That's another guy that I like, Frank. Joe Jackson is a guy that I like also. DQ can't bluff. I mean, it's not. I am Solomon. DQ can't bluff. He made it obvious that the Falcons are trying to try not to say that they look, man. Look, I think it's transparent. I don't think he has. I don't really think anyone believes that we don't need a defensive tackle. Like, if you believe that the Falcons don't need a defensive tackle, clearly you're not a fan. All right, clearly you don't know what you're talking about. Clearly you don't know what you're talking about if you believe that the Falcons don't need help at defensive tackle. They need. Don, what's good, man? Marvin Jones, I don't even know how the hell you say that name. College, Mississippi, or whatever the hell. I mean, y'all have some crazy names, dude. Y'all have some crazy names. Minnesota Falcons, Brazilian X skills. Skills. Calabri Daniels, Trufant is okay, but he can't press. Look, another misconception. Saying that Desmond Trufant can't press is just not true, nor truthful, and not really researched well. It's just a pretty ignorant statement, to be honest. Saying that Desmond Trufant, he's one of the most complete defensive backs in the league, and you're saying that Desmond Trufant can't press? Come on, dude. I know you may not like Trufant, but to say Desmond Trufant can't press, just is it true? And you haven't watched a lot of tape or film if you believe that Desmond Trufant can't press. Desmond Trufant hasn't been in the position to press a lot because the Falcons are in a ton of off coverage. But to say Desmond Trufant can't press is just not true whatsoever, man. And like Skill said, man, Trufant does not have a ton of man-to-man opportunities because the Falcons have had such a horrible cornerback in Robert Alford that he forces the Falcons to play zone and off coverage. So you have to maximize your player's ability, and you kind of put guys opposite Trufant that can play in man-to-man because, Robert Alford can't play man-to-man. He can't play zone. Look, man, you don't know what the hell you can do with Robert Alford. So you have to protect him, and you have to protect him by playing a ton of zone coverage. And that's not playing to Desmond Trufant's strengths. Later on during the season, when Dan Quinn became the defensive coordinator, we found out later that he took over the play calling because the Falcons played much better. Desmond Trufant played much better. Vic Beasley played much better. Grady Jarrett, those guys played much better because Dan Quinn took over as the play caller. But when you look at it, man, the struggles, the so-called struggles with Desmond Trufant were just, a lack of Trufant not being able to do what he does best, and that plays man-to-man, lock on one player, lock down that field, all right, that side of the field, and do what he does best. And they play man-to-man and, find the ball. Desmond Trufant is one of the best fundamentally sound corners you will ever see in this league. Desmond Trufant's technique as a corner is elite. All right, you're not going to see guys in the NFL with better technique than Desmond Trufant. The guy's footwork, his IQ, his hands, he knows when to use his left hand. He knows when to use his right hand, when to shield, when to turn around. Desmond Trufant is that damn good, all right? But you're only as good as your running mate opposite you. Why? Because it dictates certain coverages. It dictates the Falcons playing, whether playing man or zone. Doesn't matter. If your guy opposite you sucks, guess what? It's going to affect the opposite corner. And that's just the truth of the matter, man. And that's why I'm so excited seeing a guy like Isaiah Oliver in the league, man. I really think Isaiah Oliver will be a tremendous, tremendous corner, man. I'm making another bold prediction. I think he'll be a Pro Bowler. In the next 2 years, we're going to look at Isaiah Oliver as being a Pro Bowl corner for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm calling it right now, dude. Isaiah Oliver will be a Pro Bowler for the Atlanta Falcons. Guaranteed. I like Grady, but he needs to be a better finisher. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what Grady Jarrett needs to be a better finisher, man. Like, Grady Jarrett is Grady Jarrett. He's about to get close to $100 million contract. I don't even know what that means, man. RB Blackshear, Sharp is cheap, absolutely. Oh, my God. We're not going to talk about Trevor Lawrence, man. I'm seeing Trevor Lawrence comments in here. We'll talk about that in 2-3 years. All right, they'll talk about Trevor Lawrence right now because your boy Dan, Lieutenant Dan, will have a damn heart attack. We continue to talk about Trevor Lawrence, man. Whatever happened to our ex-defensive coordinator, Marco? Man, I don't know. I don't know where the hell. Like, Marco Emmanuel literally fell off the face of the earth when he got fired for the Falcons. I don't know if he's in college. I don't know if he's in high school. I don't even know if this dude is even alive, man. All right? I don't know what happened to Marco Emmanuel. But I have no clue. But I'm gonna end with this, man. I appreciate everybody. Depression. I'm gonna end with this. I appreciate everyone for tuning in to this live, man. My damn throat hurts. I gotta get a little exercise on. Stayed on a little bit longer than I intended. It's 2 o'clock. Trying to get everything done before the kiddies get home. But I appreciate everyone for tuning in, man, to this live. Gonna continue to provide you guys with more Falcons content so we can talk, Falcons football. All right, until this draft coming April 28th. Leave your comments, man, below, man. Continue to support your boy, man. Support your boy, Lieutenant Dan, at Unintentional Ground if you haven't already. The Real D Patman. Also on Twitter, The Real Patman. All right, on Twitter. And the Dunn, you can check him out on Twitter too. I'll have a link in the descriptions for you guys, for you to check all those guys out at their respectful social media outlets. But I mean, again, man, your boy Mad Mike Sports. I'm at Twitter, also Instagram, Mad Mike Sports, and of course on YouTube. Hit that subscribe